Welcome to Royal Secret. When Queen Mary of Denmark steps out in public, the world pays attention. But when she does it alone, clad in regal shades of purple with the poise of a true monarch, she becomes the very embodiment of royal elegance and silent power. In a world still adjusting to the seismic royal shifts in Europe, from abdications to scandals and rising young heirs, one woman quietly redefines what it means to rule with grace, style, and strength. And she's not just making a fashion statement. This isn't just about purple dresses or designer heels. This is about a queen stepping into the spotlight, alone, and turning routine royal engagements into a masterclass of diplomacy, resilience, and national pride. This is the story behind Queen Mary's solo appearances, and why the color purple, the very color of royalty, seems more than fitting for Denmark's newest queen. So, why did Queen Mary's latest solo appearance cause such a buzz? And what does it really mean when a queen shows up alone, without a king, without her children, and without fanfare, yet still manages to capture every camera and dominate the headlines? Let's dive into the story behind the woman in mauve, and why this moment matters more than you think. Queen Mary, originally from Tasmania, Australia, has come a long way since her days as a marketing executive. From a chance meeting with Crown Prince Frederik at a pub during the 2000 Sydney Olympics to now standing as Queen of Denmark, her journey is nothing short of extraordinary. But what makes her recent solo engagements truly fascinating isn't just her backstory. It's what these appearances say about her role now, and her future. In mid-April 2025, Queen Mary embarked on a string of official engagements without King Frederik by her side. While solo royal visits aren't unusual, the optics were unmistakably powerful. Draped in a flowing, precisely tailored mauve coat dress with matching heels and a structured clutch, Queen Mary didn't just attend, she owned the events. At a public cultural center in Aarhus, she met with Danish artists and young designers. At a youth empowerment event in Copenhagen, she spoke passionately about education, equality, and opportunity. Every moment was carefully choreographed, yes, but also deeply sincere. Observers noted how engaged she was, asking questions, laughing warmly, and moving with quiet confidence. The message was clear: Queen Mary isn't just a consort. She's a force. Purple has long been the color of royalty. In ancient times, it was so rare and expensive that only emperors, popes, and kings could afford to wear it. In 2025, it's still a statement, and when Queen Mary wore it, she knew exactly what she was doing. Mauve, a lighter and more modern twist on the traditional royal purple, carries connotations of femininity, serenity, and strength. It's elegant without being overpowering. And that, in many ways, mirrors Queen Mary's public persona: strong but not intimidating, warm yet firm, modern yet steeped in tradition. Royal fashion commentators quickly took to social media, praising the Queen's choice. "This is not just a fashion moment," one Danish fashion editor wrote. "It's a power move, subtle, graceful, and completely regal." In an era where royal wardrobes are often dissected for hidden meanings, Queen Mary's style on these solo outings sent a clear signal. She's not just attending these events, she's representing the monarchy, shaping its future, and reminding everyone of the dignity and beauty embedded in royal duty. But make no mistake, these appearances weren't just about looking good. They were strategic. Since ascending the throne alongside King Frederik after Queen Margrethe's unexpected abdication in 2024, Queen Mary has steadily taken on more high-profile responsibilities. While King Frederik focuses on state matters and international diplomacy, Mary has become the face of domestic engagement. And doing it solo, that's a deliberate choice. By appearing alone, Queen Mary isn't distancing herself from her husband, she's strengthening the institution. In many ways, she's following in the footsteps of Queen Elizabeth II, Queen Maxima of the Netherlands, and Queen Letizia of Spain, royal women who built independent public personas while supporting their monarchies. Mary's solo engagements also carry another message: trust. The palace clearly trusts her to represent the crown alone, even at major public functions. That's no small thing. Observers believe this solo rollout may be part of a larger transition. Some speculate that Queen Mary may take on even greater leadership within Denmark's royal house, possibly even fronting initiatives once led by her mother-in-law, Queen Margrethe. In Denmark, the reaction to Queen Mary's solo engagements was swift and overwhelmingly positive. News outlets splashed images of her across front pages. Social media lit up with admiration. One headline read, "Mary the Magnificent, our Queen shines alone." Another declared her, "the people's queen, elegant, engaged, empowering." The public wasn't just responding to her beauty or her wardrobe. They were responding to something deeper, a sense of reliability, of authenticity. Danes trust Queen Mary. They see her as someone who understands both tradition and modernity, someone who represents their values at home and abroad. A popular Danish radio host summed it up best: "Mary doesn't need to shout. She doesn't need to wave flags. She just shows up, and people feel calm. That's power." Among younger Danes especially, Mary is seen as a relatable royal. She's stylish, yes, but she also speaks candidly about motherhood, environmental concerns, and youth issues. Her solo events often include time with students, artists, and community leaders. These aren't just photo ops. They're conversations. It wasn't just Denmark that took notice. Across Europe and beyond, royal watchers and media outlets picked up on Mary's solo engagements. British and Australian outlets praised her elegance and leadership. Spanish and Dutch commentators compared her rising influence to that of other modern European queens. Even in the United States, where royalty is more pop culture than politics, Queen Mary found herself trending. Why? Because in an era where monarchy often feels out of touch, bogged down by scandal, outdated customs, or lavish displays, Queen Mary represents something different. She's a queen who leads with quiet strength, who dresses thoughtfully, speaks sincerely, and walks into rooms with the kind of self-assurance that doesn't need applause to be noticed. This global attention only amplified the importance of her solo outings. Suddenly, what might have been a routine engagement in Aarhus became part of a larger narrative: the emergence of Queen Mary as one of Europe's most admired and capable royals. As Queen Mary continues to take on more solo appearances, one thing is clear: this is not a temporary spotlight. It's part of a carefully constructed royal evolution, one that has been quietly in motion for over 2 decades. But now, with Queen Margrethe having stepped down, the transformation is complete. Mary is no longer preparing to be queen, she is the queen. And every solo engagement signals how she is redefining that role. Queen Mary isn't just participating in royal traditions, she's shaping them. Her solo appearances, often tied to education, mental health, women's leadership, and sustainability, are designed to reflect the values of a new Denmark. In an age where monarchies face increased scrutiny and pressure to modernize, Mary is a symbol of progress, proof that tradition and relevance can coexist. But this role didn't appear overnight. Mary has spent the last 2 decades building trust with the palace, the people, and the press. From her early Danish language lessons and understated public demeanor to her deep involvement in social causes, Mary's path was one of deliberate, quiet preparation. It's only now, standing alone at the helm of royal engagements, that we're seeing the full weight of that journey. What may seem like effortless elegance is, in reality, the product of meticulous planning. Queen Mary's solo schedule is a lesson in soft diplomacy. Her engagements are handpicked to elevate key issues, strengthen ties with communities, and avoid any sense of flash or overexposure. There is intention behind every detail. When she steps out in mauve, she's sending a message. When she visits a women's entrepreneurship summit alone, she's asserting independence and signaling commitment. When she spends over an hour in a science and innovation center talking with high school girls about STEM careers, she's building bridges between royalty and the real world. Sources close to the Danish court say that Queen Mary is now actively involved in planning her own agenda, something few royal spouses are granted. She reportedly consults regularly with advisors on how to make her appearances more impactful, meaningful, and modern. And the results are striking. Engagement numbers are up, media coverage is glowing, and the Queen's approval rating among Danes, particularly women, is soaring. Unlike the old royal model of waving from balconies and ribbon cutting, Mary's presence at events feels personal, grounded, and resonant. And when she shows up alone, it only adds to the authenticity. It says, "I'm not here as decoration. I'm here to listen, to learn, and to lead." Let's talk about the wardrobe, because while it may seem superficial, royal fashion is a tool of diplomacy and identity. In recent appearances, Queen Mary's fashion choices have not only been applauded but studied. From her sharp tailoring to her choice of Scandinavian designers, her wardrobe sends messages that transcend aesthetics. She is consistently elegant but never ostentatious. Her color choices, especially the recent purple tones, reflect dignity, confidence, and calm authority. International fashion houses have taken note. Editors at Vogue Scandinavia and Harper's Bazaar UK hailed Mary as Europe's most quietly influential royal fashion icon. But perhaps more significantly, they also praised her for using her platform to support sustainable fashion. Queen Mary frequently re-wears outfits from previous appearances, something unthinkable in past royal generations. She supports local Danish brands that prioritize ethical production. And she's not afraid to mix couture with high street, creating a fashion persona that's both aspirational and approachable. This makes her image deeply effective, especially on the world stage. Her style, like her presence, speaks of quiet strength, timeless dignity, and modern responsibility. And when she arrives solo, these choices matter even more. Every color, every cut, every silhouette becomes part of a larger narrative about how monarchy is adapting to the 21st century. If fashion is Queen Mary's language, her causes are her voice. For years, she has championed women's health, mental wellness, environmental sustainability, and youth empowerment. But in her solo outings since becoming queen, she's taken this advocacy to new levels, speaking with sharper clarity, bolder vision, and greater visibility. Take, for instance, her recent solo speech at the Danish Youth Climate Forum. Standing before an audience of passionate young environmental activists, Mary spoke with urgency and emotion about the responsibility leaders hold in shaping a sustainable future. "This is not a trend," she said. "It is our moral duty. We owe it to the next generation to protect not just the planet, but the truth, the science, and the courage it takes to change." These are not the words of a silent consort. These are the words of a monarch who sees her role not just as ceremonial, but as catalytic. At another solo event focused on domestic violence prevention, Mary met privately with survivors. Her foundation, the Mary Foundation, continues to grow in reach, helping thousands of vulnerable individuals across Denmark and beyond. During her visit, one young woman reportedly told her, "You make me feel like someone cares." It's moments like these, personal, poignant, powerful, that show the depth of Mary's mission. Behind the tailored coat dress and carefully crafted image is a woman driven by purpose. And she doesn't need a king at her side to prove that. Comparisons are inevitable, especially in royal circles. Queen Mary is often measured against other modern queens: Maxima of the Netherlands, Matilda of Belgium, Letizia of Spain, even Catherine, Princess of Wales. But in many ways, Mary stands alone. Why? Because unlike many of her counterparts, Queen Mary is navigating a relatively recent transition, from crown princess to queen, in the public eye. While some royals have decades to prepare for the crown, Mary's ascent was unexpected. Queen Margrethe's abdication, though rumored for years, was still a surprise to the world. And when it happened, Mary had to step into the role instantly. Yet instead of appearing overwhelmed, she appeared ready. Her solo appearances have not just confirmed her preparedness, they've elevated her profile across Europe. Royal commentators now refer to Mary as a model queen consort, a leader with quiet gravitas and global appeal. And in a post-pandemic world where royalty must re-establish its purpose, that appeal matters more than ever. While King Frederik focuses on diplomatic missions and governmental matters, Mary's work fills the gap between monarchy and the people. In this way, she's more than a supportive spouse, she's a balancing force within the Danish royal system. Alone, she becomes the relatable, empathetic face of the crown. So what does the future look like for Queen Mary? If her recent solo outings are any indication, it's a future full of purpose, autonomy, and evolution. She's poised not just to fulfill her royal duties, but to redefine what those duties mean. She's already earning comparisons to some of the most respected royal women in history, but she's also blazing her own path. The symbolism of her solo engagements, wrapped in purple tones, surrounded by the people, leading with calm assurance, cannot be overstated. Queen Mary is not waiting to be remembered as a stylish consort or elegant figurehead. She's working to be remembered as a queen who mattered, a queen who led, who connected, and who quietly transformed the monarchy for a new age. Behind the palace gates of Amalienborg, something subtle but undeniable is taking place. It's a shift. Not loud, not dramatic, but powerful. Queen Mary is not just Denmark's queen by title. Insiders suggest she is quickly becoming one of the most influential voices within the Danish royal household, and her solo engagements are only the surface of that transformation. According to royal aides who have worked closely with the Queen, Mary has a hand in far more than her public schedule. She is involved in strategic meetings, policy direction for the monarchy's outreach, and even the long-term planning of Denmark's royal image in the international arena. One palace source put it this way: she doesn't walk 2 steps behind the king. She walks beside him, and sometimes ahead. Mary's influence is not the kind that demands attention. It's the kind that reshapes institutions quietly from within. Whether it's modernizing the royal household's communications strategy or spearheading digital education initiatives through her foundation, Queen Mary is steering the monarchy with a steady, deliberate hand. And make no mistake, this isn't about power for power's sake. This is about impact. About making a centuries-old institution relevant, empathetic, and inspiring in a world that questions the very purpose of royalty. While Queen Mary is capturing the spotlight with her solo appearances, one cannot overlook the other half of this royal equation, King Frederik. The dynamic between the royal couple is, by all accounts, deeply respectful and perfectly balanced. Whereas Frederik focuses more on state matters, military traditions, and Denmark's global diplomatic relationships, Mary handles the monarchy's connective tissue, its people-facing, future-facing, heart-driven engagements. Their marriage, while the subject of occasional tabloid speculation, has emerged stronger and more unified with the weight of the crown. And their public image has become symbolic of a modern royal partnership, not just in love, but in leadership. What makes this royal marriage unique is how they elevate each other. King Frederik's stoic, understated nature is matched by Mary's warmth and clarity. When they appear together, they are regal. When she appears alone, she is radiant. But insiders say it's what happens behind closed doors that truly matters. Strategy sessions around the fireplace, late-night briefings about public issues, planning meetings with their staff where both voices hold equal weight. This is a monarchy operating as a team. And at the center of that team is a queen who is being trusted, by the public, the press, and her king, to lead solo with confidence. Let's return to Queen Mary's recent solo engagements, because what wasn't seen on camera might just be the most powerful. In one unpublicized moment during her stop at a domestic abuse recovery center, Mary sat down with staff and volunteers after the cameras were turned off. For nearly an hour, she listened, really listened, to the challenges facing women in crisis. One social worker reportedly said afterward, she wasn't rushed. She wasn't formal. She was human. She asked questions no one else ever asks. These moments are not anomalies, they're patterns. From youth shelters to environmental labs, Queen Mary is known for going off script. She speaks longer than expected. She dives deeper. She remembers names. And when she leaves, the people she meets often feel changed, not just seen, but valued. During a solo walk through Copenhagen's Nyhavn district, Mary made headlines not for her fashion, though her deep plum coat drew praise, but for kneeling to comfort a young girl who had lost her parents in a crowd. The child's mother later said, "She didn't just help my daughter. She made her feel like a princess." These are not gestures for the press. They're the building blocks of legacy. And they show that Mary's true magic is not in being royal, it's in being real. Launched in 2007, the Mary Foundation was once considered a side project. Today, it's a pillar of the Queen's work, and arguably one of Europe's most effective royal-driven organizations. Focused on combating social isolation, bullying, and domestic violence, the foundation has helped thousands across Denmark, and increasingly, beyond its borders. Its innovative programs are studied by nonprofits across the EU, and Mary herself has spoken at United Nations events about its impact. But the foundation's strength lies in its adaptability. It doesn't just write checks or host galas. It creates tools, for schools, shelters, hospitals, that empower real change. From anti-bullying kits in elementary schools to mentorship programs for abused women, the foundation is redefining what royal charity can be. And Mary is at the heart of it all. She's not just a patron, she's an active participant. Staff say she attends meetings, challenges strategies, asks tough questions, and constantly pushes for innovation. When she visits project sites, she doesn't just cut ribbons. She sits with children. She listens to teachers. She shakes hands with survivors. The Mary Foundation is more than a namesake. It is a reflection of Queen Mary herself, compassionate, practical, relentless, and brave. With Queen Mary's rising solo profile and King Frederik's global focus, the Danish monarchy is undergoing a reinvention in plain sight. This isn't just about pageantry or palace life, it's about relevance. It's about survival. As European monarchies grapple with criticism, shrinking budgets, and cultural shifts, Denmark seems to have found its answer: evolve or fade. And Queen Mary is leading that evolution. Her ability to move seamlessly between royal tradition and real-world concerns has positioned her as the monarchy's secret weapon. While others struggle to justify their roles, Mary is showing, not telling, the value of modern royalty. She does this not by clinging to power, but by giving it away, giving voice to the voiceless, spotlight to the overlooked, hope to the forgotten. In doing so, she's rewriting what it means to be royal, and creating a blueprint for others to follow. It's not just Denmark that's paying attention. Internationally, Queen Mary is becoming a respected figure in diplomacy, humanitarianism, and public health. She's been invited to global conferences, awarded honorary degrees, and asked to speak on some of the most pressing issues of our time. In Australia, her birthplace, media headlines refer to her as Our Mary. In the UK, royal watchers see her as a contrast to more controversial royal figures, praising her steadiness and sincerity. In Europe, political leaders quietly admire her ability to draw crowds, change minds, and maintain royal mystique without scandal. In a world where fame often comes fast and fades even faster, Mary's rise has been slow, steady, and unstoppable. She doesn't seek headlines, they find her. And with every solo engagement, her international reputation grows. She is no longer just Denmark's queen. She is becoming a global symbol of what modern monarchy can be. Thanks for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe.